Sidney Poitier was a 20-year-old dishwasher in NYC. He came from the Bahamas and could only read third grade level, having great trouble with three-syllable words. He lost his dishwashing job, so he looked in the want ads and was about to throw the newspaper into the trash box on the street when he read, "Actors Wanted." The "Wanted" seemed like an invitation, so he walked to the address, was given a 2-page scene to read by a large man. Poitier slowly read word by word in his Caribbean accent. The large man grabbed him by the belt and collar and pushed him to the door saying, "Stop wasting people's time. You can't speak and you can't read. Go back to dishwashing." Walking to the bus stop, Poitier stopped on the street thinking, how did he know I was a dishwasher? Poitier said, "I realized that was his perception of me. No value but something I could do with my hands." Even though he was correct in his anger to characterize me that way, I was deeply offended. I said to myself, I have to rectify that. I decided right then on that street that I was going to be an actor just to show him he was wrong about me. I had to take the responsibility to change how people perceived me. I continued as a dishwasher, but I began to work on myself. Poitier auditioned at the American Negro Theater in Harlem, hoping to get into classes there. He didn't know that one could buy books with plays in them, so he memorized an article in True Confessions magazine. He wasn't accepted, but Sidney said, "I'll be your janitor for free if you let me study here." The school accepted that deal. Months later, he was told he had no gift for acting and had to leave. Unknown to Poitier, 3 fellow students that liked him went to the headmaster and asked her to give him a walk-on in the next play. She said, "No, but I'll make him the understudy for the lead." She had no intention to use him. However, the night of the play, the lead, Harry Belafonte, had to help his janitor father carry out the 6 heavy boxes of furnace ashes, and it had to be done that night. So Poitier went on, knew his lines and did he best he could. In the theater that night was a producer that offered him a bit part in his next play. His character was the first to speak as an excited man who has to tell some news in the first scene, and that was all. Poitier said, "When I looked out through a peephole at the 1,200 people waiting for the play to begin, I became paralyzed with fear. I ran out on stage and started with my 7th line first. The other actor's eyes bulged out, but he came up with the right answer. We skipped around lines, then my character left the stage and that was my only scene. The audience didn't know the play, so they liked my confused, excited character. However, walking back to the room I was renting, I decided to give up on acting. I bought 4 newspapers on the way home and was surprised that I was mentioned favorably in 3 of them. Like, who was that funny kid that came on at the beginning? So I decided to continue acting. After a few small parts in small movies, it was 1954. Sidney Poitier was sent to an audition for a movie by an agent named Martin Baum, but was not Poitier's agent. Poitier read a scene in front of the producers. They wanted him and gave him a full script to take home. Poitier's character was a janitor who saw a crime committed by gangsters. To keep him quiet, the gangsters kill his daughter. And he stays quiet. Poitier said, I really hated it. At that time, I had no objections to playing a janitor, but I hated the idea of a father not taking action on the gangsters. The janitor permits what the gangster do to him. To the writers it's just a plot point, but I can't play that because I have a father. And I know my father would never be like that. And as a father myself, I would never be able to not attack those gangsters. I want to do movies that show who I am as a human being. Poitier called Martin Baum, who said they will pay $750 for the part. $7,000 today. He told Baum, I read it and I can't play it, and explained why. Baum said, that's why you don't want to do this. You need that money, don't you? Poitier desperately needed the money. He had to pay the hospital $75 for his second daughter's birth, but didn't take the part. Poitier said, that speaks to who I was then and still am. And who I am is my father's son. I saw how he treated my mother and family. I know how to be a decent human being. So I pawned my furniture, such as it was, got $75 and paid the hospital. Then I went back to dishwashing. Months later, Martin Baum called me and invited me to his office and said, I have never been able to understand